better. What?
We have really loud bugs today.
We do have loud bugs
Okay, you're not going to cough.
today. I'm gonna cough. Have you ever noticed that Sunday morning can be the most difficult morning of the week? Like if it's gonna go wrong, it goes wrong on Sunday morning. You're trying to get the kids dressed to go to church, and you can't find a shoe, you can't find a sock, you can't find a kid. I mean,
True story.
it's tough. And I think once you get there, I mean, if you have young kids, it's inevitable. You literally walk through the door, the diaper explodes.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier.
You forgot the diaper bag at home, so now you got to scour the audience, right, to see if any parishioner brought in a diaper bag.
True story.
I mean, there's a million reasons why a person could get frustrated and even despair, wondering why am I even going to mass? I mean, and again, if you have younger kids, just the reality is most of the time is taking the kid to the bathroom, changing a diaper, and basically having to take someone out because they're too loud during the homily and irritating people in the mass. So
I mean, when it comes down to it, being a faithful Catholic who goes to church and mass every Sunday is not for wusses. It takes work. It's tough. It's tough. It's the wusses that give up and stop going.
Sometimes you might think to yourself, but I'm not really getting anything out of the mass, so
Right.
why am I going? Like, what's the value? Why is it important to go? And especially if you're a young mom with young children and you're spending all your time out in the cry room and you're consoling a baby or a toddler, you can just think, I haven't heard a homily in
Right.
years.
I mean, goodness gracious, that was my life for so long. The trips back and forth to the bathroom, or even just walking, being in the back, pushing a stroller back and forth to keep the kids happy because the parish we had didn't even have a cry room.
Yeah.
And so I'm back and forth in the back area trying to keep kids happy and Chris is traveling, so I'm doing this alone, and the one kids who I hope are behaving themselves are sitting in the pews by themselves. That's scary. That's a scary thing. And I tell you, there have been so many times, and I know this is going to freak some of you out, but deal with it because this is just me. But there'd be days I would be at mass, and all I wanted to do was take the head of the kid and smash it against the pew in front of me.
And working through that still.
Because seriously, that's the kind of frustration that we're talking about. It's a real live frustration. You want these kids just to be quiet just for a few minutes. You're tired of being embarrassed. You're tired of being exhausted. You're tired of being tired. You want to be able to get something out of it. And the easy answer is to just not go.
Right.
That's the easy solution. But Christianity, being Catholic is not easy. We're not called for the easy solution. We got to tough it through.
I remember Linda used to say, and I think she's even written on it, right, that going to church when you have young children, especially as a mom responsible for feeding and all that stuff, it's like the widow's mite. It takes everything you have to get there, and it's usually that kind of day where everything's falling apart and someone gives you the glare, like, I can't believe you brought all those noisy kids to church.
Right.
That happened once for Linda. She's at mass, and some elderly gentleman looked behind and said, will you stop bringing your distractions to mass?
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing that would make anybody think, well, maybe I don't want to go because I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm exhausted, and people are looking at me, and obviously I'm disrupting their solitude.
Right.
So why go?
And so why go? But the truth is, it's so important for your family. Even though maybe you think they're not getting anything out of it, they fight you. I don't feel like going. I don't want to go. We've taught our kids that they don't have a choice. They're going to go.
Yeah.
You go. I don't care if you kick and scream the whole way. You're going to go to mass, and you're going to behave at mass. Otherwise, you don't get anything else for the rest of the week. That's just the way it is. There's no bargaining here. And so in the end, I don't care. I don't have to make my kids feel like they love going to mass. They don't have to feel like they're getting something out of it for me to see the value in making them go. Same with school, right? There's value in them going to school. They don't feel like going to school. They go anyway. I don't really care. They go to school. And so we had a deacon friend of ours tell us once that even in adoration, but it applies to mass too, that when you feel like you're not getting anything out of it, it's called a sunburn, which actually is so ironic that that's what I'm saying, because right now all of a sudden the sun has parted, the clouds have parted, and I'm getting blinded by the sun, and I will end up sunburned if I stay out here long enough. But that's how it is at Mass. We have our children there, we're not get we don't feel like we're getting anything out of it. But it doesn't matter if I'm laying on a beach and I don't feel like I'm getting burned nonetheless. And so at Mass, you may not feel like you're getting anything out of it, but you are, because the Son of God is there, present, and He sees you, He wants you to be there, He loves you, and you get something out of that presence being there, even if you don't feel it. You're getting a sunburn.
Well, here's a couple other simple things for you to just chew on. Why go to Mass? Well, first of all, because we're called to do so. We're invited to join in with the family of God and participate in the meal. And in fact, in Hebrews, it talks about not forsaking the gathering together of one another. And there's something very important about coming together as a family for the breaking of the bread. Another reason that we go is because honestly, we're not going to be entertained. We're going to join our broken moments, our difficult moments, our sad moments, to the simple gifts of bread and wine, and then the miracle happens. That transubstantiation. Truly, Jesus is present. And when Jesus is present, all of heaven is present. And so every single ache that we have and worry and concern can be united to that incredible gift. And we can be with family. We can be with family, those that have gone before us and those that are cheering us on. We get to unite all of our moments and come and be with family to help encourage us along the way. And another reason that we go is because ultimately we need him. We still need a savior. We need
Absolutely.
Jesus to come and to fill us and let us know you're not gonna be alone. And so we come to the fountain, and we come to the light, and we come to the true vine, and we grafted in, and we participating in and receiving from. We have the chance to be filled to overflowing and go out and be Eucharistic people of thanksgiving, people of gratitude. It's hard to be thankful, and it's hard to be a person of gratitude when you are not receiving the very thing for which you are thankful, and then where you're not open to the very thing that you would have a gratitude about. So we go because we need him, and he is ready to satisfy our need.
So my challenge for you is, if you're that person struggling, go anyway. Just not stop caring about what other people are thinking. Stop caring that you're hurting other people's feelings by being there, or you're making them uncomfortable or being too loud. Stop caring about that. Just
Right.
let that go. But also learn about the mass. Start to learn about what the different parts of the mass is, so that even though you may be disconnected, and you have those 30 seconds of focus, and then disconnected. In those 30 seconds of focus, you'll at least understand what's happening in those few seconds. When I had my kids were young, my favorite part of the mass was right at the Lord have mercy. No. It's the part where we kneel, right before we kneel, and we say, "Grant us peace." Right, the Kyrie eleison.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
I
Do
think
I not?
I
That's
think
the other part.
that's in the beginning. But
Anyway, it's the part where we kneel. I'm drawing a blank here, but we
Lamb
kneel.
of God, you take
Yes,
away the sins of the
yes,
world.
that's it. And so
Yes,
grant us peace.
yes.
That, oh my goodness, that was always, amidst the craziness and the biting that was taking place and the secret pinching that was happening and all the things that was happening. In that moment, I engaged and said, "Grant us peace," because I needed peace in that moment. And the Lord ministered to me every single time. And so find out what the mass pieces, the mass passes parts are better than I'm communicating to you right now on them. But find them out so that in those few moments that you can engage in what's happening.
When I was a little kid, I used to love sitting with my grandparents, and even whether it was with my father that particular month, or my mother. I would love to have them tell me stories of what they were like when they were little kids, or what my father was like when he was a little boy, and even what I was like when I was a small child. And the stories that they remembered and told would make us all laugh, and we would just kind of be a little bit in awe, and think about kind of where we'd come from, and the heritage and the history of our family. And that's what happens when we go to Mass and we hear all those readings. We're hearing the story of where it's all come from, and how God's worked as Father in the lives of his children. And I think that for us, it's good to be reminded that it's not the first time that people have struggled with disappointments and frustration and loss and difficulties. We have that moment of trying to get to mass, and it's so hard and so difficult. But then you hear the stories of the children of Israel as they're wandering for 40 years, and you hear the story of Samson and Delilah, of Noah and the ark, and you realize, okay, I'm kind of part of this incredible heritage of people who make mistakes, who struggle, and who wonder, God, where are you? I need you. And every time he comes to them as provider, as healer, as banner. I mean, you can look at all the ways that God reveals his name to the children of God in the Old Testament, and he reveals himself to us in this time. As the church, he reveals himself as continually healer, provider, our banner, and specifically here, peace. Look, it's worth the effort. To be real honest, it's
It's
worthy
worth it.
of all the blood, sweat, and
Be
tears.
strong.
Go to church, take your family with you, and yeah, it might be the widow's mite, but we still remember her story. And honestly, your kids are going to remember that this was important for you. When they go off on their own, you get to pray for them because they're their own person, and maybe they're not living church out the way that you want them to, but all your effort and energy in going to mass, it does matter. So don't give up. Be diligent. Pray for your family members, and know that all of the family of God is praying for you in that moment.
That's right.
Enjoy the mass.